Hi there, welcome to BoxPred. This is my post-fight thoughts video for the Wladimir Klitschko versus David Haye fight, which happened on the weekend. My apologies for the delay, but my internet has been down, as well as me being extremely busy. But I'm just taking this short gap and opportunity to do this video. I know a lot of people are disappointed with this fight, the way it went, and I think that really stems in particular from the hype around the fight and the fact that David Haye was doing a lot of the hyping, bigging himself up, promising a knockout, all these things that boxers do, but he took it to the next level and he really did sell this fight. I actually didn't think it was that bad a fight, viewing wise. One of my friends turned to me during the fight and said, this is boring, this is rubbish. And I turned to him and I said, actually, for a heavyweight fight, this isn't that bad. And I think you have to remember, this is a heavyweight fight. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't really recall too many heavyweight fights of the year in recent times. You're just not getting fight of the year candidates from heavyweight fights. They just tend to be more boring. Tends to be less movement, tends to be more caution, which is understandable because if you look on Saturday night, both of these guys have immense power from their records. Their records show evidence of power, and caution is to be expected. One thing I'd like to address is, what were we expecting from David Haye in this fight? What were we expecting? Were we expecting him to attack ferociously and blitz out Wladimir? Were we expecting him to have an inside game? Were we expecting him to use his jab? Were we expecting him to stay somewhat close and within range of Vlad? Well, his past shows no evidence to suggest that that was ever going to happen. Now, I predicted Wladimir Klitschko by 10th round KO, or stoppage, which was obviously wrong, although the victor was right. And it did go to the decision, so congratulations to guys who were calling that. I did say anything could happen, and I stand by that, because during the fight for me, right up from the first bell to the last bell, I thought there could have been a knockout punch from either guy. Let's take aside David Haye's hyping, his mouth, all the talk, and let's just look at the fight. For me, apart from something that annoyed me was when David Haye kept falling over, or going down, and trying to blame it on Wladimir Klitschko, when numerous other opponents have been leaned on and treated in the same way and not gone down. Apart from that, if there had been no hype, if this had just been another opponent who had gone in silently, rather silently, trying to take out Klitschko, we would have been probably saying, and I would have been saying, it was a good effort. He's just gone the same way as everyone else, and it was a decent effort. He lasted the 12 rounds. This is what happened. Let's not look at it as it was David Haye. Let's just look at it as it was another opponent of Wladimir Klitschko. The same thing has happened as has happened to everyone else. David Haye's gone in there, he's confident, he thinks he's the guy that can do it. What actually happens is, like happens to every other opponent of the Klitschko brothers, they find out early on that actually it's not that simple. Actually, there's an extremely difficult task set out in front of you. All of a sudden, the jab is better than you thought it looked. All of a sudden, the jab is more powerful than you thought it looked. All of a sudden, they're quicker than you thought they were. All of a sudden, they're better defensive than you thought they were. All of a sudden, you can't just swarm him and you can't just attack with bombs and catch him. All of a sudden, Wladimir Klitschko's record and the fights he's won become clear. You actually start to realise while you're in the ring, this is why he's won all these fights. This is why all these guys couldn't penetrate, couldn't get in past that defence. This is why all these guys suffered from that jab. And I think David Haye found that out after the first few rounds, if not less. I thought he did have minor success getting through to Vlad, but Vlad was quick and he was able to move backwards and he was able to roll with the punches. He was able to use an effective defense to get away from David Haye. And guys, if you were expecting fireworks, if you were expecting excitement outside of short bursts, I'm afraid you were always going to be disappointed, because David Haye doesn't fight like that. He fights in short bursts. You're not going to see a load of combinations. Unless he hurts a guy, he's not going to move to the inside. It's all going to be outside. I believe David Haye did try, and he did have a plan. It just didn't work. And the longer the fight went on, the more disheartened he became, just like all the other opponents. And it just went the same way. So I know there's a lot of backlash on David Haye. Forgetting the toe thing, that's just ridiculous. We all know that. There's a lot of backlash on David Haye's performance, but I think that really stems from the hype around the fight and the way David Haye was talking before the fight. If he had just been quiet, he'd been, respectful and, humble, we wouldn't really be, I don't think we'd really be going on like this, because I think we just think, we give it a go and he just couldn't do it. I think his mouth has gotten him in a lot of backlash, trouble, and he didn't deliver. There's no doubt about it. David Haye did not deliver, but I think it's through no fault of want of trying. I think it's just proven that, let's give the Klitschko and Wladimir Klitschko some respect and some credit where it's due. He's just fought if I had to choose somebody to fight him, I would have chosen David Haye. If there was anyone I think in the heavyweight division to challenge him, or any of the brothers, it was David Haye. And he's beaten David Haye. Vladimir's beaten David Haye. I can't see Thomas Adamek doing anything to Vitaly. I think he's going to beat Adamek. And I don't really see any other proven fighters out there who can really challenge. So, where does David Haye go from here? Is there any point in staying in the heavyweight division? Is there any point moving back to cruiserweight? He will be more comfortable probably, or have more opportunity to pick up more titles at cruiserweight, but he's already done that. And cruiserweight is really a weak division, in my opinion. And, at heavyweight, he could try and fight Vitaly if he'll give him a fight. Maybe that's the only other fight. Fighting others, really not going to do a lot for him. Once you've been champion, moving down and fighting for nothing is, where's the motivation? For the Klitschkos, for Vlad, you move on to fight the next contender. I don't think they duck people. I think they just beat who's in front of them. I think people need to just give them the respect they deserve. You can debate an all-time greats list, of course you can. But for now, here and now, what more are they supposed to do? Wladimir did extremely well. He's probably disappointed he didn't get the stoppage, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And I didn't think it was all that bad. I mean, we found out, at least we found out who's the best of the two. We found out the Klitschkos at the moment in this era, as if we didn't know it already. They're the real deal, and we need to give them the respect they deserve. So that's all I have to say on the matter, really. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I know there's a lot of disappointment, but let's look at it realistically. What did you expect? It was never going to be, Pereira Morales type fight. Never going to get fireworks. I know you were looking for a bit more fireworks than there were because David Haye hardly threw any punches, but that's what I expected. You have to look at the styles and what they bring and what they've done in their past, and that's how David Haye fights. So, there you have it. This is BoxPred, and I'm out.